Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast. I'm so glad that you're joining us on another episode today. This episode is a replay from a mastermind call that we had in the RAL Room Assisted Living Mastermind that's all about growing beyond one residential assisted living home. So, if you have yet to purchase your first residential assisted living home or you're ready to scale, this is the episode for you. And if you're thinking, hey, I want to be surrounded by a community of like minded investors that's going to hold me accountable and help me purchase my first or my next residential assisted living home, then you need to consider joining the RAL Room Assisted Living Mastermind. If you click the link on the website, theralroom.com, you can sign up for a free discovery call and see if the mastermind is right for you, or you can join us on one of our future webinars. Without any further ado, let's get started with this episode on how to scale beyond your first residential assisted living home.
Welcome to the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast with your hosts, Charlie Cameron and Alex Schlow. This is your go-to show for cutting-edge insights from industry leaders in residential assisted living.
Whether you're ready to launch your own assisted living business or looking to invest in this fast-growing, high-impact sector, we are here to equip you with the tools, strategies, and confidence you need to succeed. Get ready to ride the silver tsunami and change the future of senior care. Now on to today's show.
So Lindsay's come and talked to us before. She's been on the podcast. She's a great presenter, and I'm just excited to introduce her. But she was just telling me about all the traveling she's been able to do this summer, which is a dream. We have people trickling in right now, so we'll just go ahead and kick it off. And if there's anything you wanted to add, Lindsay, on your intro, your background, I'm sure people would love to hear that.
Yeah, I'll do it here with my presentation. All right, awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit today about residential assisted living owner success from day one. And this will be a little bit unconventional and just what I talk about. But then I want to share my story and just talk about different options for growing and scaling your business and thinking outside the box. A little bit about myself. Again, my name is Lindsay Daudistel, and I opened my first residential assisted living home 7.5 years ago. We started building in 2017, opened in spring of 2018, and here we are now. We have 7 kids. I have 5 of my own that I have all the time, and we have 2 other boys from my husband that are here quite often. And then we have another little boy on the way in August. So overall, we will have 7 boys and 1 little girl. So life is full and abundant and beautiful, and just lots of little kiddos all the time. And of course, there's always friends around and all that. We love to boat. We love to be on the water. That is our happy place. So I was just telling Luke this summer, we spent like 45 or 48 days at the lake already this summer, and we've got a couple more weeks scheduled before school starts and jumbling the football calendar and all of that. But that's our happy place. Yeah, when I first started and decided I wanted to do a residential assisted living, one of my big motivators was that I wanted freedom, right? Like we all do. We want freedom of time, freedom of financials. And one thing I said was, I want to be the one to raise my kids. I don't just want it to be hiring a nanny or somebody else sending them to daycare. So what can I do to be able to provide for them, create legacy, create that financial freedom, also the time freedom, so that we can really kind of have that American dream, right? And that is what we thought residential assisted living could do. And it certainly has. And it's just growing from there. It's really exciting. It definitely checked all the boxes for us with all of those things. I am a nurse by trade. I guess I should have started that as well. I'm a nurse by trade and really took a leap of faith and got out of nursing 10.5 years ago now. And when I did that, we did not have any money coming in. It was a rough go, and I was doing real estate investing. And through real estate investing is where I heard about residential assisted living. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, like I know the real estate side, I know the healthcare side. And this like truly checks all the boxes. And in the meantime, my grandma over here on the left, we were putting her into assisted living. And of course, being the nurse of the family, everybody's calling me and saying, can you call the places? So I was calling around, trying to figure it out for her. And we learned a lot, and we learned a whole lot. And I realized just how many games were being played out there. And once she did go into a facility, the lack of care that she really received. And I thought it was going to be a conflict of interest to have her move into our building. And it turned out that it probably would not have been. And I learned a lot through that process. We waited too long. She got an infection and had to go into the hospital. And at the hospital, they said, like, she's pretty much been neglected, all the sores on her bottom and just the lack of care that she got there. So by the time she left the hospital, she was on hospice and not doing well at all. They knew it was not going to be very long. So we moved her into our home, and she was only there for 3 days before she passed. Learned a lot through all of that. Needless to say, since then, my grandpa came there, any of our friends, grandparents, staff parents, anybody like that. We put aside the conflict of interest and said, we just need to care for people. Those are my whys and my driving factors behind the business and getting started. All right, so currently I have 9 homes. 3 of them we built from the ground up. One we converted. It was an adult daycare, and we did a complete gut job, complete renovation on that home, and have that as 16 bedrooms. And then we acquired 5 additional homes. And so 2 of those are on one lot, 3 are on another. And then we're about to open another 3 homes, and also in the process of looking to be acquiring and growing and scaling as well. So that's where we are currently at, which has been fun and had a little bit of everything in there. I've managed homes for other people. I bought another like smaller home at one point. Luckily, I only bought the business and not the real estate in the business. And we were just leasing because I got in there and I thought, oh, they've been open for a long time and this will be great. It was 6, 7 residents that could be in this home. Well, I soon realized that home was not equipped to do what we had expected for our residents. And it was really scary, really quick. And luckily, everybody that was there in the home trusted us enough to say, okay, we'll move wherever you have us go. So they ended up moving to one of our other homes, 45 minutes away, actually. But I was so grateful I could get out of that lease because that home was not suitable for really meeting all the codes and being as safe as it should have been. I also apologize for my breathing. Like I said, I'm 8.5 months pregnant, and I apparently cannot breathe very well when I'm talking this much.
Don't worry about that. I completely understand that. I didn't realize that you guys were taking in your loved ones, your friends' loved ones. That's an amazing part of your story that I really commend you on. And I love how that kind of developed into your why over time.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it's been a really big part of it. Yeah, several of our staff have had loved ones there, and families, friends of families, all that. Yep. Yep. Go ahead.
Real quick, I'm sorry Janine did ask, what were the learning signs that you saw in the home? And Janine, I don't know if you want to, what were some of the warning signs that you saw in the home? I
In
don't know if
that
you
home
want to clarify
that we had to get out of.
Yes.
Yeah, and I cannot see the chat box right now, so I'm looking around. So if you could, Luke, jump in, like, that'd be helpful. So it was just a regular ranch residential home. And like I said, they had been open for a long time, and I was still pretty new into it. And it looked nice, it looked cute, but there were just other things that were not good. Like the hallways were pretty narrow. It was a home from the 50s. So you know how narrow those hallways were. And they had residents in there on Hoyer lifts. And again, we realized it very quickly once we bought this business. Oh my gosh, if this resident falls, or we can't even get the right equipment through there to do what we need to do. They didn't have a sprinkler system, which that's okay. I know a lot of places get grandfathered in, but there was no way to even retrofit or ever do that. So I'm here in Ohio too, like, just to change licenses, we are never going to be able to accommodate the need for a fire suppression system. Just even the doors and the locks, once we got in there, we realized, and we could have installed something different, but they were using these locks up at the top of the door, which are completely against fire code, and just locking it so that the residents couldn't access it. So again, if there was a fire or something, they would have just been locked in. Some just different, like, areas that really were, like, not safe for walking and causing a lot of hazards. So thing in the roof, I mean, there were just some major home issues where it's okay, we could buy that and pour a ton of money into it and it still isn't going to be well, or we can just move them and find a different place and put them that is really better suited for the residents. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, those are big ones, and there wasn't any follow-ups that I'm seeing, so thank you.
Yep. Yeah. And that's a big thing too. I learned from that as well of just having the 6 to 7 residents in a home. And that was just really challenging in and of itself, where you think, oh, that'll be the easiest. And staffing wise and managing that was way more difficult than one of my 16-bedroom homes or a campus of mine that has 48 residents now with multiple 16 resident homes. So that was good to experience and see that side of it too. Okay. So yeah, just a little bit more about me, of mentoring people and starting tons of other businesses and the awards that we have received. Pretty cool. This was my first home in Lebanon. So it's like when we first opened that we built. And we actually were building 4 families, ranch style, and this was the shell of it. And when we decided that we were going to do this, because we were going to build 9 4 families, and instead it was like, wait a minute, this can be so much more profitable and checks all these boxes, like I said. So we took that shell and said, okay, I know I want 16 residents. I want open concepts. I want to be able to see the residents from the kitchen, all the things with the bathrooms. Like, this is what I want. So my dad and I sat down and looked at the shell, and basically this whole area here inside on the 4 families was where all the garages were. There's 8 garage spaces on how those buildings were laid out. And so we were able to basically make that like the great room, dining room, kitchen, have it as open concept, like you can see right here in the middle, and have 8 bedrooms on either side. So we had 8 private bedrooms with private bathrooms, and still had an office and a salon, plenty of storage, and community bathrooms on either side. So hope that's helpful to see. This is a similar model to what we use for any of our other homes, or as we're right now acquiring even and looking at renovations, and the renovation we just did, and we're just using a very similar thing and keeping that open concept with the bedrooms and the private bathrooms too. Okay. I'm sorry if you're hearing all that background noise right now.
No, you're good.
Okay. All right, so how to run a successful residential assisted living from day one. Of course, make mistakes, get consulting, hire great management, your operational systems, have all those in place, policies and procedures, get plenty of funding. Those are all great tools and great things that you absolutely need for a successful assisted living home. But that's not exactly what I would say. I would say that there's a whole lot more to it than just that. Is like a very analytical kind of way to look at it. I believe in looking at this from a number of other ways. So I want to go through that. And what will really drive success, and not just those systems, it's way deeper. And so 10 big ways to have a reputable company, gain referrals, the trust, respect, a great team, and ultimately this all leading to profits. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go over. But before we dive into that, remember that tenacity, definitely tenacity in this business, a forward-thinking mindset, really work on your mindset, the self-awareness factor, and grit really do go a long way. All right, so there's 10 things. Number 1, I would say first is your big why. I explained a little bit about my why and the driving forces behind what I was doing, and still now what I'm doing. It's all about being able to spend that time with the kids and creating a business bigger than I could ever imagine. I'm focused now on building an empire. And so we have a lot of external things happening right now too, as the snowball keeps going. But really focusing on your why. And if you are not clear on that, or it's strictly just, oh, the money sounds great, I highly suggest you dig a whole lot deeper than that and really ask yourself some difficult questions, because there's a whole bunch of ways to make money out there. And this business will take more than just saying, I want to make money. Having a vision from your company, and from day one, just like you all masterminding, I mastermind with a whole lot of CEOs from different industries, and also in this industry as well. And I will tell you, what I see over and over again is the companies that seem to really struggle, even like later on, for 10, 15 years into your business, and they're really struggling with their team and struggling with getting everybody united in that culture. It's really because they've lacked that vision in the first place and lacked getting that set up from day one. So I highly suggest having that vision at the very beginning. And if your vision really is, I want one home and I want to make $10,000 a month and I want to be able to quit my job to do it, and that's your full vision, cool. Now put that into how you want your home to be, what that model really looks like, what's really important in there, have those driving factors for your why, but be able to verbalize that, articulate it, and put it into everything so that your team is aware. When you're not sharing what that looks like, they don't know and they're just doing their thing. And it's not allowing you then to be the leader and to really guide why they're there every day, why they're showing up, and what it's all about. So being able to project that vision, and again, if that is just one home, I don't just say just one home is great as well, but really being able to articulate then why to come every day, why to be there for the residents, and what sets you apart. So with that vision, being clear on your culture, there's culture coaches out there. There's a ton of great information online. Really dive into culture and what that means within your company. And if you've already started a home and you haven't done any of that, I highly suggest doing it now. It's never too late. But being clear on what you want that culture to be, writing it out, being very clear on it. Goals on what your goals for the home are, what your goals are on a daily basis. What does success look like for your team on a daily basis, on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis? And that's not just numbers. Yes, numbers do play a part. And yes, we do want goals on making sure we're within budget and doing all of that stuff. But how many people are we serving? How many volunteers are we bringing in? No falls or whatever those goals look like, and setting those goals within your home, within your organization, and making sure you're saying that to your team as well. And then your core values. I'm really big on core values that we talk about it in all of our interviews. We talk about it within our team weekly. We have culture team leads. We have things set up all around our house about core values. And this to me is really the foundation of who you are as the business owner and the business that you are leading. And it really sets the stage then on how you're making decisions as well and how you expect your team to be making decisions. So the core values play a really big part. And again, does all of this take a little bit of time? Yes, I highly recommend not using AI to just spit this stuff out. Use your heart, use your mind a little bit, and you have to be passionate about this stuff. Otherwise, your team will eventually see through that it's just words on paper or just words that you're saying. You need to be passionate about your vision, about your culture, your values, especially in this kind of a business where you're not selling sweaters, you're not selling ice cream. You are truly selling how you're caring for somebody at end of life, how you're taking care of mom or dad, and that they have to have that trust factor. Any questions around that before I move on?
I just wanted to comment because I think we recommend the book Vivid Vision for folks, and it really speaks to a lot of things that you're talking to on this slide. We created a Chat GPT, which is an AI platform to help craft yours, but that is by no means what you should use as your, if you're just going to AI and saying, hey, type me a vivid vision for these goals, that may be a good thing to get your juices flowing, but that shouldn't be your final version. You should be thinking about it, and by all means, look at examples, use it as a tool. But I think what you said is smart. It needs to come from your heart. It needs to be the authentic culture of who you are. So I think that was a really good point.
Yeah. Sorry, I definitely did not mean to miss that, but you're right. Like you can certainly use AI to help articulate and craft your message, but you can start thinking of words and how those apply to you in your life and the kind of business you're wanting to have.
Yeah, no offense taken at all. I 100% agree. I think we live in a world of AI, and it's really easy to just use that as the easy button for everything. And that's not the answer. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Number 3 is authenticity. Kind of the same thing we were just talking about there. Being you, being authentic, standing out. Really, what is that differentiator, especially when you go out to market? And if you are in a city that has a lot of other residential assisted livings, you definitely need to have that. I'm sorry, residential assisted livings, you definitely need to have that. Like Houston, for example, there are a ton of RALs down there. But if you have one that really stands out because of what your team is all about and how you do things, that is being authentic, and it will help you a long way in your business. All right, I just realized what time it was, so I need to speed it up here. I'm sorry, Luke. Giving and serving, and again, that's in leadership. Simon Sinek again speaks a lot to that, but serving serving your team, serving your customers, serving the families of your residents as well. And also just giving back and having those great relationships with those third-party providers and creating win-wins all around. If you are really focused on that and not just, okay, come to me, it will make a huge difference in this business as well. Clarity on who you are as a person. Again, you are the leader of your company. So being clear on who you are. If you don't have that clarity and can't speak to things, it's going to make it more challenging to be able to lead your team and lead that message. Taking action and really doing the things. Again, I've consulted, I've talked to a lot of people throughout the past few years and people that really want to get into this industry, and they will listen in on a lot of things. They will join calls, they will do the coursework, but then when it comes to making the phone calls, really networking, really doing those action things and persevering through those questions and maybe even people not understanding what it is that you're doing, that's where the gold is, right?
Sorry to interrupt this episode, but let's be honest. Most real estate investing right now, it's either buy a fourplex or try Airbnb and hope for the best.
Yeah, we're not here for that.
We're here to show you what we believe is the most overlooked high cash flow real estate strategy in the game right now. You guessed it, residential assisted living. It's literally the one place in real estate where you can net six figures on a single home and feel like a decent human being at the same time. You're helping sweet old ladies eat pancakes and play bingo and live longer through better care. You tell me what's better than that.
So, we're hosting a free live webinar called How You Can Create Financial Freedom with Residential Assisted Living. No fluff, just value. And it's happening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 Mountain Time. No excuses. It's online. Put on sweatpants. We won't judge.
We'll break down why residential assisted living is the best opportunity right now, the 5 steps to take down your first home, and how to set up a business that makes a real impact and real money.
Spots are limited. So, don't be that person who DMs us in 3 months saying, wait, is it too late to start?
So hit up theralroom.com/webinar and register now.
Be the hero your grandma already thinks that you are.
We'll see you there. Pancakes not included.
You've got to take action. You've got to actually do the stuff. You can't just learn and learn. You have to do. Hire to your weakness. This was something that took me a little bit to learn. And especially when you're starting one of these, you might be thinking, I'm just going to be wearing all the hats, or I can provide the care. I know I can do this and I can do that. I strongly suggest hiring to your weakness and hiring early. Making sure that you do have that funding lined up ahead of time to hire early. Otherwise, it is going to take you longer to do things. So if you recognize, I am not good at bookkeeping, I am not good at the numbers and the financials, I'll go in there all day long and take care of people, do tours, network, understanding your strengths, your weaknesses. But when it comes to those books, I need somebody to take care of that for me. So you hire the team. If it's internal or you're hiring somebody fractional, whatever that looks like for all the different roles within your company, but recognizing what those weaknesses are, because by spending a whole lot of time on there, it's going to take away from your time that you can be spending to really grow and scale your business quicker and getting residents in there sooner and all of that. That was definitely a hard part for me to learn. And when we started, we did not have as much funding as we should by any means at all. And I was wearing all the hats way too long till burnout, really. And I reached the point of working like 3 days in a row and then the 3 nights because night shift wasn't there. And I didn't know how to manage people. I didn't know a lot of that stuff. It was like, oh my gosh, I need to hire a manager. If I don't know this, I need to hire a manager. And it was a game changer. And number 8, I said market and like crazy all the time. If you get your house full, that's awesome. Congratulations. Keep on marketing, build that wait list, keep on getting out there and networking and doing all the things. Don't think that just because your house is full and maybe it's been full for 6 months that you can just take it easy. Keep going out there, keep making those connections, keep making those calls, because I promise you things will go like this. And again, we're at end of life care. So as soon as one person passes away, you want to be able to fill that room back up, but then you might have a few more that pass away as it goes sometimes. Just continue to market all the time. That will certainly help lead to success. connect with your families, connect with your community. Just keep that connection word in your mind. I can assure you that will go a really long way in the success of your company as well. And maybe it's not even you, like I said, weakness. If you recognize that networking and talking to people like that and that sales kind of role is not you, hire for that and make sure that they are connecting. And then they're articulating your mission, your vision, your values for who you are and your company is and what you're trying to achieve then, and have them go out there and make those connections. But really getting connected is going to be huge. Not sitting on the sidelines or just thinking that people are going to come to you. Be different than those big box facilities. Sponsor the softball teams and all that good stuff, right? Connect with your community. This is definitely a community type of company, and families will start to trust you more because you are a part of their family, right? And you have that connection and those relationships. Exceed expectations. This is a big one for me and what we talk about a lot within our homes. Whoops. One second. And I said, finding the joy. And I'm a firm believer in that. Even during COVID times when things were hard or governments were saying certain things, and we just kept saying, bring the joy. How do you bring the joy to the residents, to the families? And yes, things might not always go right. And there's going to be falls and there's going to be complaints. So you're going to have all of that. But how do you find the joy? And how do you bring the joy to your team? Bring the joy to the residents, to the families? That's exceeding expectations. If you're just checking the boxes and just doing the assessments and just doing the meds, that's great. You're providing this kind of care, but really exceed those expectations, bring them the joy, show them the love, and that will be seen and felt and heard, and it will go so much farther within your homes and let people see and experience within them as well. I hope that makes sense. But really finding the joy, and you finding the joy in the work too, especially on those days when it can be challenging and maybe you had 5 people quit and everything seems to be going wrong. Find the joy and come back to your why and why you're doing it, and know that tomorrow is a new day and it will be okay. It will all work out. And when you rely back on those core values too and doing things up to your expectations and leaning on those values, it will play a huge part in getting through those times and helping you find that joy in the work that you're doing too. Okay, so that concludes the 10 things, like I said, that are a little bit unconventional, not just so like business oriented with the success of your homes, but I think that they're really important. Like I said before too, I do think it has become a whole lot easier as the owner, as the operator, after getting past that first home and really scaling and thinking bigger. People have asked me how I did that. And no, I'm always saying, first off, don't necessarily worry about the how. What is your vision? What are you trying to achieve? Go after that. And then how will work itself out. There's plenty of opportunities out there for money, for funding, but it's what are you really wanting to do and how many homes are you wanting to have? How many residents are you wanting to serve? But those are the things to be thinking about there. But scaling beyond one, like I said, every single time that we have open another one, it's almost become easier. You can, because then too, you can get a bigger team. You can get more people on a leadership team. Like now we have it structured to where it's my husband and I as like the CEO, and he's head of the finances and does a whole lot more than that too. But now we have a team of people with a fractional CFO, we have HR, we've got a regional clinical director. But now we have people in place to really take care of all of the big buckets, and we're able to just oversee that and continue to grow and continue to look for other opportunities. And it's really the game changer and in creating that financial freedom and the time freedom, so that it's not relying on us to answer every question, answer every complaint or anything by any means. And in fact, it's actually now to where the team almost, they almost protect me in a way to not give people my phone number and stuff, because it's nope, like this is our job. It really has become a whole lot easier as you grow and have more and more residents and more homes too. So I hope that gives you a little bit of hope actually, and thinking, oh my gosh, right now you're in the weeds, especially if you're on your first home, you're just in the weeds and it can be exhausting and you feel like you have to do it all. And slowly then as you are hiring more people, and then you're able to see the light at the end of that tunnel, open up your next one, hire more people, and staying focused on where you really want to be in your company. is what I recommend there. So also with the scaling, talking about the financials, like I said, money is out there. We have used SBA loans now. Local banks have been really helpful too, and using other people's money. I'm not telling you anything you haven't heard before. So that is how we've done it. The first way was definitely using local banks and creating those relationships with them. And that allowed us to do the first 4 homes. Okay. So then once we've scaled and really grown, then I started consulting and teaching a lot of people how to do things. And I thought it was really important to give people like autonomy, say create your own brand and do all this. But it really led us to getting to the point of, you know what, that's great, but that's not what everybody wants to do with this. So we decided to get a franchise set up so that we can offer full tools to people to get into this, and hopefully quicker is the whole goal. So we actually have a franchise that's about to launch here in the next couple of months. That's been really exciting too. And again, that's like that business side of getting all of your operational systems and your SOPs and all the things, all the financials in order, and a lot of structure behind the organization. So anyway, that's exciting to see where that's going to bloom to and what that's going to become. But that will be the optimized franchise. And that is it. So I think we're right at 30 minutes.
Awesome job, Lindsay. And when did you say that you guys were opening up the franchise opportunity?
Yeah, technically it should be ready here in a couple weeks, but then I know with the audits and stuff. So we're starting pre-sales and starting doing some of that right now, but really it'll be a couple months from now.
And is it going to be most powerful in Ohio, or is it going to be state independent? It can be nationwide.
No, there's a few states that will be not going into, but certainly expanding outside of Ohio. Absolutely outside of Ohio.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's going to be great. We've seen franchises, and we've had a few different franchises on that offered that, and that can give folks a whole lot of just structure and a model that works. And I think that's a good move, and I think you guys are going to crush that. I'll
Thank
go
you.
ahead and I'll go ahead and ask some of the questions that were asked while you were talking, and then we can go back and just open it up for everyone to ask Q&A. But Marie asked, would you recommend opening a second home if the first one isn't full yet?
I would recommend, like, it's okay if you're not 100% full, but certainly to start working on that second home. If you've already got that second home, maybe under contract or like for a lease, or if it's a different side of town, that's one thing. It's different too if you're building and you're like, oh, okay, I have 16 beds to fill here. I only have 8 residents. Let's go ahead and start building the second one, or do we need to wait? And I would say go ahead and start, because it's a process, right? So I think that is a loaded question because it just depends on lots of variables there.
Yeah, I would think some of the factors would be like, hey, is there a wait list already? Or are the folks that are, like, let's say you're 5 out of 10 full, are you seeing the trend continue? How long has that been, a year that it's taken you to get 5 out of 10? And maybe the timeline matters for how long you've been open versus how fast you've been filling. But if you see a better market opportunity somewhere else, I would imagine that would be another reason to do it. But you also don't want to be too far away, doing an hour drive all the way across town in order to start going over and starting up your next home.
100%. Yep.
Lewis asked, do you have any tips on hiring a manager or promoting a caregiver to a manager? Another big question. That's a good one.
That is hiring a manager. So again, depending on where you live and if they need to be an administrator or not, if they need to be somebody in healthcare, obviously that plays a role there. But if we're not really focused on that and you're just needing somebody to really just run your home and do all the day-to-day operations, I would really focus on what it is that you want them to be doing first and foremost, and setting them up for success and calling it the right thing too, and having a really fantastic job hosting for that. For example, I'm a part of a part of another company, and they did this whole job posting looking for a nurse, and what they called that role and even the whole description, I knew what it was. They were sending it to me to review, and I'm reading through this and I'm like, I have no idea what this person is actually going to be doing or what you're really looking for. You do need to completely revamp, because if I know and I'm reading it and I'm confused, that means everybody else is going to be confused. So being really clear on that is going to be helpful. And when it comes to promoting a caregiver to a manager, my suggestion was just to be careful. I'm certainly all about offering steps up the ladder, so to speak, and hiring from within for promotions and whatnot. But somebody once told me you can only move people to seats so many times before you really need to hire in from the outside. And I know I've gotten in trouble for doing that and just thinking, oh yeah, this person can handle that, or they're really good at this and they can learn that. But they didn't really have the full skill set. So as much as you want to be able to help those people, and that might be your what you're thinking is, I just want to be able to help them. That's cool. But do they really have the full skill set to do what you need them to do in that role? And if there's any kind of hesitation, I would say no, don't do it, because eventually they're not going to get you where you really want to be. Another hard lesson to learn with all of that is where somebody said certain people can only get you to here, but you're trying to get to there. If they've gotten you to a certain place, you're like, this is good, but they've reached their ceiling and reached that ceiling of being able to see what you're not seeing, and you need to hire somebody else in to really get you to the next level, then that's what you got to do too. Hire slow, fire fast type of thing, which is something I'm not great at, but I have learned that it is really important, and it will make a world of difference in your organization when you have the right butts in the right seats.
Yeah, that's really good. I would just add to that. The first point you made, Lindsay, was like be very clear in your job posting that with what exactly you're looking for. And if you've done that piece, then you know if you can hire from within or promote from within. Because if somebody's a wonderful caregiver and you're looking for XYZ on the list of, hey, this is what I know, these are the things that I'm doing right now, and these are the things, exactly the things that I need a potential manager to do. You can vet those things out of your caregiver by giving them smaller tasks before you promote them maybe to that higher position and say, hey, okay, we need them to be better. We need to see that they can actually, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. Lindsay might be able to help me. Like they can work with computer software and organize tasks for other caregivers efficiently. So you could say, hey, you're the one in charge of this many supplies and administering them to this many people at the right time. And I'm just going to put you in charge of that. May be, I'm just throwing something out there, Lindsay, on an example of how you could be very clear in what you're looking for to vet out if you can hire from within.
Yeah. And another example, this recently happened. We're hiring for a resident relations coordinator. This was a new role and something that we wanted to really be able to hold the hands of our families for admissions. And I have this vision of exactly how I want this person to be, like their personality, their skill set, and all of that. And we had a number of interviews, and we have this really fantastic caregiver. She's had lots of different roles within the company. She's been there for a very long time. She really wanted it. And we even interviewed her. Her interview was terrible, but that's okay. Like, we know what kind of person she is. We know that she could do this, but she did not fit my vision for this role, just in her personality and her organizational skills. So by not being able to just to check a couple of those boxes, I'm like, I would just be settling. Yes, I could promote her and that would be good for her, but I would be settling and not really going for like this person that I really want. So I hope that helps clarify that a little bit.
That's really good. I did have a follow-up question on that, Lindsay. So something that drives me crazy about the military is they force the classic thing in my world is, okay, this person's an E6 shooter. So if you're an E6, so that's enlisted 6. So like you've gone up the rank in the enlisted ranks up to like 6 promotions, but you're gonna be like, let's say you're an E6 shooter and you're really good at that job. Some guys don't even want to go up to the higher position of the chief of the E7 because the E7 means a whole lot more administration. It means a whole lot more managing of people, and like you're responsible now for the actions of people below you. So a
Mm.
lot of guys just want to be E6 forever but the military kind of forces you to promote or else you're going to get kicked out. So I've always thought, hey, why not just leave that person in the same role for as long as they possibly can and give them the pay increase of the E7 and the pay increase of the E8 eventually. Do you guys use any of that type of mentality, Lindsay, on promoting maybe for the good work that they're doing and the time spent versus the added responsibility?
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good example to give and the difference there. I guess we've tried a lot of different things with all of that. This culture team leads to me is a great way where you're not really giving them a whole lot more responsibility, but you're saying, like, you're really great at your job and we can give you this extra pay raise by just being able to help the new people come in and just being the example that we can send people to and watch her. Like, she is doing exactly what we expect. Just watch her. Keep doing what you're doing and watch her, that kind of thing. I guess in that regard, yeah.
Arin's asked a question on simply 10 tips on constructing a new facility. Somewhat broad, but if you're constructing a new facility, what are some of the major things you'd want to be looking at?
Yeah, there's a lot to answer there. One thing I would just say is if you are expecting it to open in 9 months, add on another 9 months. Huh. No, just meaning recognize that there's a lot of hoops to jump through and things take time and just be patient with the process.
Yeah, you're not just adding potential dollars to the estimate, but also time probably.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. As soon as you think you've gotten something done, then the fire marshal comes and then it's something else and whatever it is. Just
1000%.
be patient.
Yeah, Arenz, I can just speak to the side of lease to operator and owning a home, not even doing the development piece and constructing from the ground up, getting with the fire department and trying to get your sprinkler systems approved. We did the entire thing, and the person that went in there and was did the work for us, they were licensed and everything, but they had done one step out of order. So they had put the cart before the horse. So we went back and forth we ended up, common sense ended up prevailing and we were able to like keep what the work had already done. But it took a lot extra time to convince the fire marshal to let that go. So I think that's a really good tip there.
And just
Um,
recognize that at the end of the day, all of your city people and government people that are going to be doing any kind of your inspections for all of that, at the end of the day, they hold the card to allowing you to open. So be kind to them, follow the rule, like just do what they're expecting and have a relationship with them. We've had experiences where just butting heads and that doesn't get you anywhere, or thinking you can take an easy way, but not actually following what they're saying to do. That just makes it take longer. Just go with it.
how to win friends and influence people is a mantra that we go by and try to implement those principles all the time. It
Awesome.
really helps whenever you're in the actual location of all these people, so you can get a face to face and put on that smiley face and be friendly and actually intentionally try to win their friendship, even if you don't like them, because Lindsay just said they hold the key to your success. And as a business owner, you need to be able to put that smiley face on at any point, anyways. And if anything, it's just going to help grow you as a human being. That's showing love, and that's a lot of what this work is, showing love to people that may not always seemingly deserve it, but that is what you're called to do. So it's good practice anyway. It's really hard for us out of state doing this, trying to develop a network in Phoenix whenever we live across the country. So I'm trying to win friends and influence people over the phone a lot, but much better in person.
That's interesting. I love
Yeah.
that. Can't go
Yeah.
wrong with Stephen Covey.
Yes. Okay. Lewis asked, to scale, do you need to hire a COO or CFO to continue growing?
Again, that's another loaded question. When we decided to move from, okay, I guess like my first big hire into a big management role was like that executive director. And at the time was really handling a lot of the operational things. And I guess you could consider her like a COO more or less. But really then to get on to to like the next one, like when we decided to then to go to, what are we at now? Like the 9 buildings, we really sat down and said, okay, this might be where we're at right now, but ideally, and thinking, okay, if I want 30 homes in this area, what would that look like? So sitting down and creating that organizational chart, thinking forward and having that vision. And again, that might not be right now. So we did do that and said, okay, here I am. Here's this piece. Here's my husband. Here are the pieces we have. And now what other pieces do we need to really make this successful? And started with like the one that was going to have the biggest impact. Like, where's our biggest pain point right now? What can have the biggest impact to then allow us to get to that next step, into that next step? Kind of thinking forward and hiring forward. And also, one great piece of advice that we had was that hiring forward piece of, okay, you might not think that you have the financials for that right now, but if every new person that you hire into those management roles are creating you 3 to 10x of what you're paying them, okay, go ahead and hire them, because then that's going to allow all of that to bloom so you can go on to the next thing. And that has been really helpful in our past like year and a half, 2 years of growth. And again, just with other businesses, other things that are developing by doing that. Does that answer your question?
I think, yeah, he said yes, thank you. Yeah, that I have a follow on from that. And guys, there's no more questions in the chat. So after my question, feel free to just come over the top on going off mute. But with hiring, oh gosh, I just lost my train of thought. If anybody has something, go ahead. But it was something you said, Lindsay, that made me think. The
Yeah.
last thing you said.
But about hiring forward. So I think it's
Oh,
hard for
yes.
somebody else to come in to tell you, hey, you need to hire the COO or you need to hire a CFO, because that might not actually be the role. Again, thinking about your organization and your structure and what you're doing with your company, what do you need in there? It might be a totally different name than that, and you might be able to just figure out a different role there altogether.
Lindsay, you mentioned right before everybody hopped on that you guys have been traveling most of the summer and been able to go to the lake. And you said you get most of your work done during the morning, but you have to delegate if you're going to have that kind of freedom to travel. And so, what have been some of the key things that you've done in key roles and positions that you guys have in place to give you that peace of mind while you're actually going to the lake to be like present?
Yep. A really big one is our regional clinical director. That role is really amazing. I know, like, operationally, so we don't call it a COO. Eventually, we might promote her to that, kind of like a second in command type of person. But that regional clinical director is extremely has been extremely life-changing, because she can handle the family issues, the state issues, the regulatory stuff, the clinical dynamics that come up. That piece has been really pivotal in allowing me to really step away from feeling like I need to be attached to my phone in case something's happening. However, I will say she was on vacation last week and really kind of stepped away. And I was on vacation as well, accessible, but I was on vacation as well. And there were a couple of things that came up, but for the majority, all of the DONs at all of our locations, like, they can handle it. So by empowering them as well and making sure that they have the tools and resources that they need, so if somebody in leadership is not available, that they can still do what they need to get done, and the place isn't going to blow up in the meantime.
And you have one DON per each of your 9 homes.
No, I have one DON for my 48-bed community, because it's 3 16-bed homes, and we have the capacity to build 2 more there. I have a DON, her role's a little bit different, but she's still like the head of the home for one of the 16 beds. And then I have a DON for my 2 like 12 to 14 beds, and a DON for my other 3 homes. But so I hope that makes sense. Like, one DON for kind of a certain amount of people and where they're at logistically.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Lindsay, do you have 5 more minutes?
Yep.
Anybody else have questions? Aaron, you always bring a good question.
I appreciate how much of this was about culture and vision. And it's funny, you were not the first person to mention how crowded of a field Houston is. And we're building in Houston. My wife and I are building 2 homes. And
Here's your room.
Yes, there is demand, no doubt. But I'm curious, so you're running this franchise model, but I heard you say that you're giving people the latitude to build their own brands and their own, put their own fingerprint on it. It was that that's completely by choice, correct?
No, I'm sorry that I might have been misspoke or didn't communicate that clearly. I was saying that when I was consulting and teaching people how to start their own, it was like, hey, these are things that you need to have set up with all of your branding and all of this stuff. And realizing, because I was talking to a lot of people too in healthcare, and they didn't really care. They just wanted to get in there, do the care, right? So by doing the franchise, it's given them those tools already. If you align with our culture and our values and all those kinds of things, like here's the branding. Now
I see.
you have all these tools.
Okay. So then that actually even helps me form my question a little better. What are the areas where you feel like for new owners, new founders, where personality like shining through, like what are the different areas that is most effective? Is it in the way that you talk, the words you use? Like where does the uniqueness come in that will allow you to stand out above the rest?
I think just being able to really articulate what makes your company special. If you go and do all these tours at, let's just use big box facilities, for example, you're going to hear the same thing. And you're going to hear some things that you challenge and you're like, hey, that's not even possible in these homes, but that was a cute message. And it's just so generic. So when they come to your home, they need to really feel that authenticity. They need to have clarity on what you're really doing there to make it special for the residents. Like there's a lady actually I knew in Houston that was doing a home and she came from healthcare and she was just so passionate about wanting to be there every single day for them. And her vision wasn't to go and do anything crazy big. Like she wanted that home because she just wanted to be the one to love on them and care for them every single day and treat it like a job, which was cool for her. And I think that she filled up very quickly. And I think that spoke really loudly to the community and to third party referrals because they're like, I trust her. I like her. I know she is going to be there for them. Hands down, I will send people to her.
Yeah,
Does that
makes
answer your
sense.
question?
It does. I have one small follow-up if you don't mind. So
Yep.
you were talking about just building relationships and making sure that you don't rest on your laurels if you have a full house, how to continue to, I guess, nurture the relationships that you're building. Do you find that the majority of the relationships you've built that help drive like new business are within healthcare or more within the community at large?
I'd say to actually get residents in bed, not in bed, in beds.
Yeah.
Sorry. To get residents in beds in the rooms, it would be within the industry, the skilled nursing facilities, the third party referrals, all of that. However, having those community connections for kind of everything else that you really don't ever talk about in these kinds of settings, that has been very instrumental for me. For example, like BNI, when I was building my business and really networking a lot, BNI was huge for me. It saved me a lot of effort and vendors. We all need insurance and we need pest control and we need other people that are just thinking about you to send you outside resources that you need. Maybe they're not in your group, but they're like, oh, I need to connect you with this person because they will really help you with that, or my culture coach, or all those other people that really help make your business unique. You need your security system and your attorneys and all of those people. So those relationships to me, I value equally as much as the actual referral sources because I wouldn't have been able to have as great of like vendor relationships and everything else within my homes if I didn't have great referrals from that too.
Got it. That's really helpful. Thank you. Sorry
Yeah.
for the confusion with my earlier question.
No, you're good. But I do recommend all the time to people for networking to get tapped into those kinds of things, but recognize that you're probably, if you go to a BNI, H7, if you go to some of those bigger things or even the chamber, they're probably not going to just send you referrals for residents to move in. Maybe like you'll get some from time to time, but because of all of those other third party resources out there, your Oasis and your Care Patrols and all that, they're great. It's much easier for them to send a family to a referral source like that rather than directly to you. Maybe you can't even meet their needs, but go into those networking events thinking I can make great connections and they can help me in so many other ways and I can help them too. And it all works out.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Someone in the chat asked, what's BNI? You might be able to answer that real
Oh,
quick.
I'm sorry, BNI, Business International Networking, Business Networking International. There's BNIs like in pretty much every town, multiple BNIs groups, but they're exclusive. So if you join a BNI group, there's not going to be another residential assisted living owner. If you own an insurance company, you're going to be the only insurance broker in that group. So they're like building a sales team for you out within the community. You can go and visit for free and go visit a couple of them. Again, it's a great way to just make connections and meet people.
Good to know. Yeah, Lindsay, I just want to echo what Aaron said. Really hitting on culture is so important, and you spoke about that the whole time and always referenced it. So I think that's super powerful, and just a strong reminder for everyone to be focused on that as you build out. And I'm super excited for your franchise model to come out, and we will definitely be introducing folks to you and letting them know if that's something that they're interested in. I'm sure you guys are going to do very well. But is there any closing thoughts you wanted to share with us, or any final contact information or ways to ask more about that for people in the group before we cut?
Yeah, I can send you the contact information and the link for the landing page for the franchise right now as well. But just closing remarks. Like I said, action earlier, and I really mean that. You can learn a whole lot by talking to people and doing all of that, but take action, pursue it, and always just a firm believer in constantly working on yourself and your mindset and challenging yourself for personal growth. And Luke, I believe you guys all are very, very aligned with that too. Yeah, that will help you so much in business and dealing with people in every situation that comes your way.
Good final reminder. Thank you. We are very aligned with that. So thank you for that. And best of luck with baby number 8 coming soon.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. I know I guess this
That'd be
would
my
be
sixth.
your
My
6th.
sixth baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's the Brady Bunch over there. Congratulations. And I hope everything goes well with that. And congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun. I appreciate you guys' questions. Aaron, you are a really great questioner. Like, I feel like when I'm developing something, I need to just call you and you ask me questions to help me develop it.
Yes, he is.
Reach out at any time.
That's great. All right. Thank you and best of luck to everybody, and cheers to your success.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on tonight. All right. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast. We hope you found today's episode insightful. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave us a raving 5-star review. And a quick review helps more listeners find the show and more seniors get the exceptional care they deserve.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And just so you know, we have prepared some free resources for you to help you succeed in residential assisted living in addition to this podcast. Head over to theralroom.com, that is the RAL room.com, to download our free 10-step guide to launch your first or next residential assisted living home, or our 10 reasons to passively invest in residential assisted living ebooks.
And if you're ready to take the next step and make real moves in the RAL industry, join us in the RAL Room Mastermind. It is an exclusive community where we deep dive into everything you need to launch and grow your own residential assisted living business. You'll get access to recorded courses, live calls with industry experts, a RAL calculator, resources and tools, like-minded entrepreneurs, funding opportunities, and an expert networking community to help you along your journey.
Be sure to join us next time on the RAL Room Podcast as we continue to explore the world of residential assisted living with more great guests. See you then.